the example that I alluded to, Shankar, which is, if I go back a few years and talk about my journey with, let's talk about Eli Lilly and Company, right? So when I joined this organization, I inherited a very small team of about what 10 people, which was working upon, like, two of them were working upon revenue forecasting. There were three of them who were working upon anonymized patient level data analytics. Then, there were about five of them who were working upon providing the marketing, the digital marketing content development sort of services. So one, I can talk about the expansion of these services or these capabilities. But if I have to speak about newer capabilities, what I did was I sort of ran on two tracks parallelly. One track was expanding the footprint of these three capabilities that I already had, that I inherited. And that expansion was done by providing a consistent delivery on an ongoing basis, so that the stakeholders in the mothership, as I would call them, they feel comfortable that yes, our pilot has sort of gotten successful and we can go, okay, today we are working only for diabetes business unit, with our GCC in India. Why don't we also expand our immuno-oncology business unit? Today we are working only for our North America business unit. Why don't we also start looking at our European, Middle Eastern, African, Japanese? So that's how expansion happens. Your skill set remains the same. You're still delivering the revenue forecasting models as an example, but you have expanded your footprint in terms of the parts of the organization that you're touching. That is the one track that I had, that I ran on in back in 2016, 2017. The other track that I ran on was I would typically invite some of the stakeholders who were not working with my GCC. I would invite them to come over to India. You know, take a trip. Get a holiday done in India. Just kidding.
Interesting.
But come over to India. I would then make them touch how other GCCs. So you named Infosys. I would take them to Infosys in terms of how Infosys is working with some of the companies as part of their BOT model for GCCs. I would have them interact with industry leaders from other GCCs, not only from the life sciences space but also from the retail space. I remember we used to interact a lot with Wells Fargo leadership, Target, leadership, Swiss Re, sort of a leadership. We used to talk to Indigene. Indigene is a service provider, but then it kind of gave us a very good understanding on number one, what Indigene can do for us if we have to go into a BOT sort of a model for new capabilities. Number two, what it is doing for others, right? So that outside in perspective was very, very important. Now, the other thing that did was, let me take a specific example, sales analytics, all about uh, segmentation, targeting, incentive compensation kind of analytics. If you talk to someone, if you would have spoken to someone in 2016 that I want to start these capabilities, in my GCC, they probably would laugh out because it was a very common capability. Like, we had companies like ZS, IMS Health, Extria, Cognizant, Indigene, who would do this left, right, and center. But it took me a while to convince my stakeholders that why don't we put in, these capabilities in India. The reason they were skeptical is not because they did not trust that the GCC can deliver it or not. It was more about because this is very sensitive to run the sales organization. You have a small error made in incentive compensation planning that can sort of impact your entire Salesforce structure. So I put a business case together, which was an end-to-end business case, which is how identifying all those capabilities that we can build, how these projects will be delivered. So who are the people whom we will be, the kind of people that we will be hiring, which are the kind of activities that we will be delivering, so how we will be delivering those activities, actually presenting them with the actual delivery. I'm talking about the actual methodology, on how incentive compensation project would be developed, and then thereafter going in from, how will we transition work. So Eli Lilly and Company used to do a lot of work with ZS at that point in time. So I had a proper transition methodology on how we will transition the existing work from ZS into the GCC, how we will expand. So it was a sort of an end-to-end plan that I had put together. I got this plan approved in mid of 2017, early 2018, and it took me about a year, a year and a half to get this plan approved. And I had to reach out to our global head of marketing, Rob at that point in time, and get his blessings for him to kind of exert that level of influence, to his team members to get that done. So it was a combination of planning, relationship development, outside in perspective, for me to sort of get. So that is a real time example that I can share with you from Eli Lilly and Company.